GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action. Live from the GMNA News Center, this is the Lunch Break News Hour.
Good afternoon, Toronto. A shot rang out at a Scarborough home early this morning, and a suspected arson blaze was tackled in Mimico, while Environment Canada warns of heavy rain and thunderstorms Sunday. Traffic snarled across the city, and the Blue Jays just dealt Gaussman to Chicago. Nathan, what do you make of that?
The Velt Music Festival afterparty kicks off tonight at the Metro Toronto Convention Centre, featuring local DJ sets starting at 9 p.m.
Carabana Afterparty continues Saturday night at the Distillery District, offering live soca performances and food trucks from 8 p.m. until midnight.
Tickets for both afterparties are available online, with early bird pricing ending tomorrow, and venue capacity limited to 500 guests per night.
We've got plenty to cover this morning, so thank you for listening, and now it's time to get started with the news. Good morning, Toronto.
Police responded early Monday morning to a residential home near Birchmont Road and St. Clair Avenue East after shots were fired, finding damage but no injuries. The investigation remains ongoing. Ainsley Booth has the full story.
Police arrived at a two-story home just after 2:30 on Monday morning after reports of gunfire near the intersection of Birchmont Road and St. Clair Avenue East. Officers found shattered windows, bullet holes in the exterior walls, and spent casings scattered across the front lawn. No one was inside the residence at the time, and detectives confirmed there were no injuries. The neighborhood, usually quiet, was briefly cordoned off while investigators photographed the damage and collected evidence. Uniformed officers maintained a perimeter through the early hours, directing traffic and ensuring public safety. Toronto detectives are now reviewing surveillance footage and speaking with nearby residents to piece together what triggered the discharge. The investigation remains ongoing. Ainsley Booth, GMNA News, Scarborough.
Firefighters extinguished a suspected arson blaze at a Mimico storefront just before 5 a.m., reporting no injuries and launching an investigation. Ainsley Booth has the full story.
Fire crews rolled up to Lakeshore Boulevard and Albert Avenue just before 5 a.m. on Monday, finding flames licking the side of a small retail space in the Mimico neighborhood. Within minutes, the team had the blaze under control, pulling hoses and using foam to bring the fire down to ash. No one was hurt, and officials confirmed there were 0 injuries. As the smoke cleared, investigators began treating the incident as a suspected arson case, gathering evidence and canvassing nearby businesses for witnesses. City officials said the early response helped prevent the fire from spreading to adjacent properties. The cause remains under review as police and fire investigators continue their work on the scene. Ainsley Booth, GMNA News, Mimico.
Toronto's Blue Jays have sent veteran right-hander Kevin Gaussman to Chicago in exchange for outfielder Brett Bateman and infielder Ty Southeisine, a move that shifts a seasoned arm for youthful depth. Simon Okonkwo has the full story.
Kevin Gaussman is heading to Chicago as the Blue Jays completed a trade this afternoon. Toronto sent the veteran right-hander to the Cubs in exchange for 2 young position players, outfielder Brett Bateman and infielder Ty Southeisine. The deal was finalized at the Rogers Center, with both clubs confirming the swap shortly after the game. Gaussman, who logged over 150 innings last season, joins a Chicago rotation looking to add depth. Bateman, a former minor league standout, brings speed and a left-handed bat, while Southeisine offers defensive versatility at second base. The move marks the latest roster adjustment for both teams as they look ahead to the final stretch of the season. Simon Okonkwo, GMNA News, Toronto.
Construction of new multiplex buildings in Toronto's Dovercourt neighborhood is cutting street parking, forcing residents to travel farther for a spot. The development ties into the city's housing push. Dev Shouhri has the full story.
Construction of new multiplex buildings is squeezing the limited street parking in Toronto's Dovercourt neighborhood, leaving residents to circle farther for a spot. The latest phase adds 2 additional multi-unit towers along the block, each taking up spaces previously used by locals. Drivers report having to travel an extra block or more to find an open space, adding time and fuel costs. City officials say the projects are part of a broader push to increase housing supply and tackle the city's affordable home shortage. While the developments aim to ease the housing crunch, the immediate impact on parking has sparked complaints from nearby households. Many families now park on side streets farther north, stretching the already tight supply. Dev Showri, GMNA News, Dovercourt.
2 men have been charged with 9 sexual assault offenses after police allege they lured 2 women to a downtown Toronto house near Bloor Street West early July. Ainsley Booth has the full story.
Police say 2 men face 9 charges after allegedly assaulting 2 women in downtown Toronto. Officers say the incidents began just before 4 a.m. on July 2nd, when the men convinced the women to follow them from the intersection of King Street West and Portland Street to a residence near Bloor Street West. Investigators allege the men then sexually assaulted the victims inside the house. The Toronto Police Service filed the charges later that day, linking the suspects to all 9 counts. Both men remain in custody pending a court appearance. The investigation continues as detectives review surveillance footage and statements from the victims. Ainsley Booth, GMNA News, King West.
Stay tuned for the Blue Jays' new Canadian pitcher Jameson Taillon, plus downtown safety updates. Then back to the headlines. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
Good morning, Toronto. Toronto Blue Jays have acquired right-handed Canadian pitcher Jameson Taillon from the Chicago Cubs, sending a player to be named later or cash, while infielder Lennon Sosa moves to the 60-day injured list. Dev Showri has the full story.
Toronto Blue Jays completed a deal with the Chicago Cubs, bringing right-handed pitcher Jameson Taillon to the club. In return, Toronto will send a player to be named later or cash considerations. The move slots another Canadian arm into the Jays' rotation as they look to bolster homegrown depth. At the same time, infielder Lennon Sosa was placed on the 60-day injured list following a setback, opening a roster spot. The transaction was announced on August 2nd as part of the organization's broader push to reinforce its roster with domestic talent. The Jays expect Taillon to contribute immediately for the upcoming season while Sosa begins his recovery period. Dev Showri, GMNA News, Toronto.
Toronto officials warn travelers that counterfeit websites are selling fake ferry tickets to the islands, urging the public to use only the city's official portal for purchases. Dev Showri has the full story.
The City of Toronto has issued a public warning after officials discovered a wave of fake websites offering ferry tickets to the Toronto Islands. Those sites copy the look of the official island ferry page, using the same logos and color scheme, but any purchase made there never results in a valid ticket. The city says scammers are targeting both residents and tourists who rely on the ferry as the main link to the islands. Tickets are sold through the city's official online portal and at harborfront ticket booths. Any payment made on a look-alike site could result in a loss, and the city is working with law enforcement to shut down the fraudulent pages. Dev Showri, GMNA News, Toronto.
WestJet cabin crew began a strike on August 2nd, causing all Toronto departures to be cancelled at Pearson Airport. The walkout disrupted hundreds of passengers. Dev Showri has the full story.
WestJet cabin crew walked off the job at Toronto Pearson International Airport early Tuesday, sending a wave of cancellations across the airline's outbound schedule. Passengers waiting for flights to domestic and international destinations found their boarding passes invalid as crews refused to report for duty. Airport officials confirmed that all WestJet departures from the terminal were halted, leaving roughly several hundred travelers stranded. The walkout, which began on the 2nd of August, is part of ongoing labor negotiations. An airline spokespeople said they are working to restore service as soon as an agreement is reached. Ground staff are assisting with rebooking, but delays are expected to ripple through the day's travel plans. Dev Showri, GMNA News, Pearson.
Ontario is moving ahead with small modular reactors that will depend on foreign uranium enrichment and fuel fabrication, a shift from the province's historic domestic nuclear supply chain. Simona Conquo has the full story.
Ontario is moving ahead with its first small modular reactors. But unlike the country's historic CANDU program, the new plants will depend on uranium enrichment and fuel fabrication sourced abroad. Officials say the technology requires processing steps that Canada does not currently produce, ending a decades-long reliance on a fully domestic fuel supply. The shift means Ontario will import enriched uranium and fabricated fuel assemblies for the SMR sites, a move that other provinces are watching as they consider similar projects. The government says the decision was driven by technical constraints rather than policy, and construction is slated to continue through the coming years. Simone Okonkwo, GMNA News, Toronto.
Environment Canada issued a special weather statement warning of heavy rain and thunderstorms across the Greater Toronto Area Sunday. The statement highlighted the expected conditions. Simone Okonkwo has the full story.
Environment Canada has just released a special weather statement for the Greater Toronto Area, warning that Sunday will bring heavy rain and thunderstorms across the region. Meteorologists say rain bands are expected to move in early morning, intensifying through the afternoon with gusty winds and frequent lightning. Residents are being urged to secure outdoor items and avoid travel where possible, as flash flooding could develop in low-lying streets. Power utilities are on standby for potential outages, and emergency services are ready to respond to any incidents. The forecast calls for rain accumulations that could exceed several centimeters in the hardest-hit neighborhoods, while thunderstorm cells may produce strong downdrafts. Commuters should expect delays on major highways, and schools in the path may consider temporary closures. Simone Okonkwo, GMNA News, Scarborough.
Let's check the afternoon outlook for the GTA and see what's coming our way.
A westward jet and rising pressure are sealing the sky, keeping Toronto dry and comfortably warm. On this date, Toronto once baked to 33.9 degrees Celsius back in 2007, a blistering peak that rode the tail of a continental heat wave. The cold counterpart fell to 14.4 degrees Celsius in 2021, a rare plunge that arrived with a lingering Arctic front. By contrast, today's climate normal hovers around 24 degrees for the high and 14 degrees for the low, a modest spread that reflects the city's typical early summer rhythm. The live radar screen is completely blank across southern Ontario, showing no rain echoes at all. Moisture remains locked aloft behind a weak trough, while the surface is dominated by rising high pressure and a gentle westward jet. That combination squeezes out any lift, leaving the city under clear skies for the next several hours. Expect the calm to persist through the afternoon. At noon, the city sits under a clear sky with a temperature of 22 degrees Celsius and humidity near 83%. A high-pressure ridge is nudging upward, sealing in dry air and suppressing any convective development. Overhead, a westward jet streams at roughly 57 kilometers per hour, steering any upper-level disturbances well north of the region. The ultraviolet index reads 7, indicating strong solar intensity. Winds are light, but occasional gusts reach 35 kilometers per hour from the northwest, enough to feel brisk on exposed faces. No precipitation is forecast, and there are no active weather alerts. As the sun tracks toward the western horizon, temperatures will climb to 24 degrees before easing back toward 22 as night approaches. Looking ahead, Tuesday remains dry with a high of 23 degrees and a low of 14, the sky staying clear throughout the day. Wednesday warms slightly, reaching 26 degrees at peak and cooling to 15 by night, again under uninterrupted sunshine. Thursday introduces a shift as a lingering moisture band drifts east, bringing light fog in the morning and a 30% chance of rain by late afternoon, with temperatures climbing to 27 and holding at 19 after dark. Friday sees the moisture linger, delivering a light drizzle and a 25% rain probability, while the high settles at 25 and the low holds at 20, keeping the night comfortably mild. Saturday returns to clearer conditions, though morning fog may linger, and temperatures hover between 26 and 20, offering a steady close to the workweek. And that's your weather. Remember, the lunch break is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts.
Heavy traffic snarls, tonight's Velt and Caravana after-parties, plus the Blue Jays' latest move. Stay with us. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
The biggest story this morning is the complete shutdown of TTC Line 6. Trains are not running at all, and replacement buses are being deployed along Bathurst, Finch, and Steeles corridors. Expect longer waits and crowded buses, especially near Finch Station. On the road, heavy congestion continues across the city. The most severe bottleneck is near Sobeys Stadium at York University, where traffic is backed up on Keele and Dufferin. Drivers report stop-and-go conditions for several kilometers. Construction on College and Carlton Streets between Bay and Church is also slowing traffic. Expect lane reductions and alternating flow through that block until the weekend. Elsewhere, the main highways are moving at a moderate pace, with the Gardiner and the 401 flowing relatively smoothly. For the afternoon commute, keep an eye on the York University area and plan extra time if you're heading west.
Toronto's Velt Festival is still pulsing at Downsview Park, wrapping up its 3-day run with big screen sets and surprise art installations. Perfect if you've been waiting for a last-minute night out. Tonight the city keeps the party going with Velt and Carabana after-parties across Toronto, giving you a chance to dance through the final hours of the civic holiday weekend before it disappears. The after-parties spill into downtown clubs and rooftop lounges, so you can choose the vibe that fits your style. Looking ahead, food lovers can mark their calendars for a free tomato and wine party later this week, where local growers pair fresh-picked tomatoes with Ontario vintages for a tasting you won't want to miss. The tomato wine gathering promises live acoustic sets, making it a relaxed way to unwind after a busy day. Whether you're chasing beats, bites, or a bit of both, the summer's final surge is right here, right now. And now here's Marcus with sports.
Morning Buzz Toronto, here's the latest moves shaping the Blue Jays' future. Toronto lands right-hander Jose Soriano from the Angels, bolstering a rotation that lost a starter last season. Soriano adds depth and a fresh arm for the stretch run, pushing incumbent starters deeper into the rotation and giving the bullpen a safety net as the club eyes playoff contention. Two prospects, outfielder Jace Bateman and pitcher Malik Southaysene, arrived in Toronto as part of the Kevin Gausman trade. Bateman offers a left-handed power bat for the outfield depth chart, while Southaysene provides a high-ceiling arm that could shape the future rotation, giving the front office flexibility in upcoming contract talks. Kevin Gausman's tenure with Toronto cemented his reputation as both a leader and a teammate. From his free agent signing to a postseason push in 2025 and reaching 2,000 career strikeouts, his presence elevated the rotation's confidence and set a benchmark for the club's pitching culture.
Visionary AI, located in the Maharas Discovery District downtown, just announced a $10 million Series A round led by BDC Capital. The Toronto-based startup builds computer vision software that helps manufacturers spot defects and optimize production lines in real time. With this fresh capital, the company will expand its product suite, bring on a new wave of engineers, and roll out its technology to factories across North America. The funding not only accelerates Visionary AI's growth, but also signals the strength of Toronto's AI ecosystem, drawing talent and investors to our streets. Local suppliers and nearby tech labs will also feel the ripple, creating jobs and mentorship opportunities for aspiring coders. It's a reminder that homegrown innovation is the engine driving our city forward. Coming up, the Women's National Bank Open kicks off in Toronto. Round action you won't want to miss. We will be right back.
Coming up tonight at 6, the local sunset. Your neighborhood, your city, your news. From City Hall decisions to the stories happening right on your street, we cover what matters most to Montrealers. Join us tonight at 6 p.m. on GMna for the local sunset, Montreal's evening newscast.
The Toronto Carnival rolls into the weekend with a high heels and soca night on Monday, August 3, 2026, lighting up FLWR event space near the entertainment district. Thousands of dancers in costumes will fill the floor while DJs spin soca beats, promising non-stop rhythm and celebration. Carl Dumont is there. Carl Dumont.
Thanks, Jordan Parker. I'm standing on the polished concrete floor of FLWR event space, the scent of spiced rum and fresh-cut flowers mixing with the thrum of a steel pan drum. Neon lights splash pink and gold across a sea of high heels, as dancers in bright prints swirl around the central stage where a brass band launches a rapid soca beat. The crowd is a mosaic of ages, teenagers in glittered sneakers, grandparents in crisp shirts, each moving in step, feet shuffling, hips swaying. The DJ, perched behind a glowing console, throws in classic calypso riffs, prompting cheers that echo off the exposed brick walls. Vendors line the perimeter, handing out plantain chips and mango smoothies, the flavors of the Caribbean spilling onto the floor. The energy is contagious. Strangers become partners, laughing as they learn each other's favorite dance moves. This night isn't just a party, it's a living reminder of how Caribbean culture fuels Toronto's rhythm and identity. Carl Dumont, virtually at FLWR Event Space.
Good morning, Toronto. The Women's National Bank Open begins today in Toronto, marking the first time the tournament is hosted in the city. The event alternates annually with Montreal and features top professional players. Dev Showri has the full story.
Today, the women's draw of the National Bank Open swings open on the courts of Toronto. The tournament, traditionally held in Montreal for the women's side, makes its debut in the city this year, joining the men's event that returns to Toronto on a rotating schedule. Canadian broadcaster CBC Toronto is covering the action, while former French Open champion Mercedes Gastambide arrived early to practice on the hard surface. Players are taking advantage of the warm, early August weather as they compete for the first round points and prize money. The event runs through the weekend, with matches scheduled on Centre Court and the surrounding show courts. Dev Showri, GMNA News, Toronto.
Toronto doctors at Sick Kids Hospital say serious e-scooter injuries among children are rising sharply, with daily cases now requiring surgery, intensive care, or rehabilitation. Simon Okonkwo has the full story.
Doctors at Sick Kids Hospital are reporting a rapid increase in serious e-scooter injuries among children, with cases now showing up every day. Pediatric physicians say they are seeing more youngsters arriving in the emergency department, requiring surgery, intensive care admission, or lengthy rehabilitation after falls from the devices. The trend has moved from occasional incidents to a daily pattern, prompting the hospital team to warn parents and caregivers about the heightened risk. Staff note that many of the injuries involve head trauma or broken bones, and the recovery process can extend weeks or months. The uptick is being tracked closely as the city's streets see more riders of all ages in the area. Simon Okonkwo, GMNA News, Toronto.
Thanks for joining us, Toronto. Tonight's trade bringing home Canadian pitcher Jameson Taylor gave our fans something to celebrate. Stay safe with the heavy rain outlook and keep an eye on those ferry ticket sites. I'm Jordan Parker. See you tomorrow for another lunch break where we'll keep you informed.